From Dawg Pound Daily, 5 mistakes the Browns cannot afford to make in 2024. Number 5, they say re-signing injured linebackers. So Taki, Anthony Walker, Phillips, Matthew Adams. Number 4, keeping the same backup offensive tackles. Number 3, allowing all 3 defensive tackles to leave in free agency. That would be Maurice Hurst, Jordan Elliott, Shelby Harris. Number 2, banking solely on Nick Chubb to fix the run game. And number 1, overpaying Greg Newsome. Scott, the one that jumps out there is the backup offensive tackles. They actually did pretty well. I mean, you found a way to win with them.
Yeah, because they did win with them. They played pretty well. I don't think you're going to get – it's just hard, right? There's not enough depth to tackle to have 4 guys you love. So, yeah, is James Hudson great? No. Would you love an upgrade? Yeah, I just don't know if that's a priority. I don't know if it's even doable. There's some interesting ones on there. I don't think there's any way they expect Nick Chubb to be the main guy at running back. It's such a question mark. We know when he's going to be back. We know what the knee's going to be like. We know if he can even play. So I don't expect them to make that mistake at all. I don't think they're going to pay Greg Newsome this year. They have to decide if they're going to pick up the 5th-year option. If that's what they're talking about, okay. But I don't think he's getting any kind of extension right now. I think you need to see more from him. I don't know what – the D tackles. Yeah, I agree with the D tackles. Like, that's the one on that list that made the most sense to me. And I don't think they're going to let all the guys go. I would expect to see a combination of Maurice Hurst II and or Shelby Harris come back. I think Jordan Elliott probably leaves. He'll get a multi-year deal somewhere else. And then I think linebacker is interesting, Dave, because JOK is going to be the number 1 guy next year. And I think he'll be on the field for every snap or close to it. But they don't have anybody else in that room. So I like the idea, and I was actually writing something today for my season preview, of bringing back either Walker or Taki. Experience in the system, good leaders. I think you get Walker on a 1-year deal. Taki, who wasn't hurt this year. I mean, he had the ACL a couple years ago. I think Taki might get a deal somewhere else. But I like the idea of another guy brought back next to JOK.
Yeah, and again, I would expect, Adams, Kanasic, somebody who's a special teams guy in addition to who can play. Both those guys were okay as linebackers, but their real contribution was on special teams.
Sure, and Kanasic was hurt most of the year, but Adams is a real good special teamer. Tony Fields, the second in there. I don't feel like he's ready for an every down role. So now you could go find somebody else. You could draft somebody. But I kind of like the idea of some continuity next to JOK.